Thank you, Susie. When a Glendale teenager crashed his SUV into a fire hydrant and streetlight, two Good Samaritans ran to help, not knowing their good deed would cost them their lives. Tonight, for the first time, the LAPD officers who were first to respond recall the heartbreaking scene to CBS 2's Josh Rubenstein.
We stopped just about here in this area.
It could have been them.
As a police officer, we're trained to recognize these dangers, and firefighters are trained to recognize these dangers, and we never saw it coming.
That's all LAPD officers Scott Moffat and Alexis Bacchus could think of as they walked me through the night of August 22nd.
As we came down Magnolia, we saw that there was already fire department at the scene. There were some engines and an ambulance here.
That's the night two Good Samaritans were electrocuted when they tried to help out a driver who swerved out of control into a fire hydrant and an old-fashioned light pole on a side street in Valley Village. Alexis Bacchus is still haunted by what he saw.
I just remember the husband because he was on his knees begging and pleading and crying to God, saying, please don't take her.
Any area to come in on North Hollywood frequency.
Officers Moffat and Bacchus were headed to another call going south on the 170 freeway when they were dispatched to the crash. It took a few minutes to get off the freeway and head back to the scene, but those few minutes were the difference between life and death.
If me and my partner were 1 minute ahead, we would have been those victims.
The car slammed into one of those old-fashioned light posts, very similar to this one here. This hydrant was sheared off with water shooting up into the sky. This is where the light fixture was on this cement base, but the car was on top of it and wires were sticking out. There was no way to tell 7,000 volts of energy were pulsating through the water. Irma Zamora and her husband Andre were driving west on Magnolia and witnessed the crash. Andre called 911. Irma hopped out to help. But as she stepped into the charged water, she was jolted to her death.
And then another woman tried to rescue the first woman, and she went down from the live wire.
Stacy Schreiber lived across the street. She heard the crash and ran outside, and was also electrocuted as she tried to help.
It's an absolute tragedy. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you know, I absolutely appreciate the fact that the victims put themselves at risk, and I don't think they got themselves into what they bargained for. They had no idea.
6 other people were injured by the electrified water as they tried to help out, even Officer Bacchus.
I didn't feel anything at the time. Maybe 30 seconds after, felt pain in my leg, felt tingling. I wasn't going to say anything. I didn't want to alert anybody yet. I wanted to make sure that the victims were taken care of.
Despite everyone's best intentions, doing the right thing had tragic consequences.
It was the best of mankind and resulted in the worst set of tragedy.
North Hollywood area Captain Peter Whittingham says Zamora and Schreiber's heroism may have saved 2 police officers.
In a strange way, they took a bullet for us.
That's why later this week, the department will honor Irma and Stacy posthumously for their bravery and citizenship.
I think this is just such a reflection, or such an example of what is best of us as a community.
We were a minute further down the road than they were, and as a result, they paid the price.
I think about the husband. My heart, I have a wife, I have a child, my heart went for him, and there's no words that can explain how you feel or how he feels.
Not for a second, I don't think that very well could have been me. And, you know, it's an unfortunate situation, so absolutely, my heart bleeds for those people.
The 19-year-old Glendale driver who caused the crash is facing charges of vehicular manslaughter. Police say no drugs or alcohol were involved, but they believe Armand Samsonian was speeding.